everyone, this is Bobby with Sew Swap It. Welcome to my first ever tutorial on how to sew something together. I need to let everybody know I'm not a professional, I'm not an expert, so some of the things that I do may not be what you're used to doing or how you've been taught to do it before, but everybody finds their own comfort zone. So today I'm going to actually show you how I made this charm pack tote with two handles, zipper. I did insert a pocket in this one. I probably won't show the actual tutorial on how to make the pocket yet because I'm still learning on that. With a zipper, and I use grommets to hold the handles. I picked out my charm pack, and in this case you can actually use one single charm pack in order to make an entire purse. You only need 18 5-inch squares to make your front and your back, and then your remainder of the charm squares you will need for your handles depending on the length of your handles. You can use whatever colors are provided in that exact same charm pack, or in this case I actually used two charm packs, but I just took out the top couple of colors just to duplicate each side to make it look the same. If you want an all different color purse, just use the one charm pack. Now the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to pick out your colors, and you're going to lay out your first 9 squares, which I've done here. I have all 9 squares laid out perfectly, and this is going to give you an idea of what the front of your purse is going to look like. So just rearrange it the way that you want it before obviously you sew it together. And then you set out your other 9, that will be your back side of your purse. Once you have picked out your colors for your purse, you're going to sew each of your charm squares together. I normally just take the first 2, you're going to sandwich them together, good sides in, and I use a 1/4 inch seam, and you're going to sew directly across. When you open it up, make sure that you are pressing each seam to keep it looking really smooth and lined up correctly. Once I have done all 3 rows, I go back and then I'll sew those to those. Once you have done that, you need to go ahead and pick out your batting. You can use any kind of batting you want. I have found everybody tells me you got to use a fusible fleece in order to make a purse, but I've made it work with anything depending on the size of the thickness of the purse that you want. Like if you want a stiffer purse, a flimsy purse, a thick purse, whatever the case may be. In this case I did use a fusible fleece, one-sided, and I sewed all my charm squares together. Lay it directly on top of your fusible fleece, and then you're going to iron it on there, and this is what it will look like. Once you've got your fusible fleece ironed to your front and your back of your purse, you're going to want to get ready to quilt it. Now when you quilt it, you can actually obviously quilt it any way that you want to quilt. There's no rules to quilting. I used, on this specific pattern, I used the actual seam line from where I sewed each and every charm. I used that as my guide. I believe that's a 1/4 inch anyway. So I went all the way down and I made squares. And that's the decoration of the quilt squares I wanted on this one. Next thing you're going to do is make sure that you have 2 more pieces for your inside lining, which I've chosen green to kind of offset as much blue as I have. There's plenty of green in there. You can use whatever colors you want, but I've got the green going. Now once you've got all this done, this is the part where you would add any kind of pockets or any kind of inside stuff that you want to add to your purse. You want to add that now, and you're going to add it to your lining. Some people will fuse their lining. They will add the batting to their lining as well, and that also helps make your purse thicker and a little bit more sturdier. I don't do that very often, and I'm not going to do that today. But then once you've got all of your pieces together, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to get ready to sew what I call the hardest part of the whole entire bag, and that is your zipper. Choose any kind of color zipper. I chose white in this case. You want to make sure that your zipper is a little bit longer than your finished front portion of your purse. And I chose a 22 inch, which that's obviously going to be plenty big enough. I do try to get the bigger zippers, the ones that you can use like with jackets or something like that, just because they have a wider sides to them and they're easier to handle. And this one is way big. You probably could go with a lot smaller one. I'm sure there's a lot easier ways to add zippers. I had the hardest time trying to figure out how to put zippers on until just recently, and this is about the only thing I know how to put a zipper on. I can't do pants or anything like that yet. So anyway, what you're going to do when you do get your zipper ready, you're going to take the first lining of your bag and lay it flat. It's obviously the same color on both sides, so it doesn't matter which side you use. You're just going to lay it flat. Then you're going to take your zipper, and with the zipper side up, you are going to lay it directly on your end of your seam with this. Now once you've got that on there, you want to take your finished front piece or back piece of your bag, and you are going to sandwich it together. However, you are going to lay your good side down. So you want the batting facing up, and you're going to line it up just perfect. And from all the ladies that I sew with have taught me so many wonderful things. The one thing that they have taught me, the most important thing of all, is to be pin friendly. Use your pins. You want to use pins. So I'm going to go ahead and pin these like so. It just kind of keeps my zipper in place where I want it. Alright. Now once you've got enough pins in there that you feel comfortable, you are going to make sure it's all lined up. I usually cut the inside liner a little bit bigger than the actual facing of the bag, because it just, I don't know, if I mess up or something, you can always cut off your extra. Then you're going to take your piece, your pin piece, over to your sewing machine, and I always go this way up. Okay. And I always line up my foot. I'm not even using a zipper foot because I'm still new at all this, and changing out feet on this is kind of difficult for me. So I've managed to do it this way. Like I said, these are all shortcuts, so this is just a way to help you get through a purse. I can make one of these in probably about an hour. So once you've got that on there, I usually line it up with these the teeth of the zipper, and take your first pin out. And make sure that you've got enough room in there that it's going to leave you probably about a, well, I don't even know the measurement of it. It's just really small area, because you want to be able to have your teeth lined up just perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and sew. And it's kind of guiding me. These teeth right here on this zipper is kind of guiding me. I'm keeping my foot of my sewing machine right along the edge of that, and I can feel it as I'm sewing. Like I said, there's probably easier ways, but this is just the way that I've learned. So keep sewing them. That's why you want to be pin friendly, because everything just stays exactly where you need it. And don't worry about any excess extras that you have or anything like that, because you're going to wind up cutting it off anyway. So it never has to be perfect. And that was my problem. I always thought everything had to be perfect. Alright, I've now sewed this first side on. I'll just cut off my little extras just because they annoy me. Once you have sewn that first side on, this is a part where I kind of jump a little ahead on what you're actually supposed to do. It's going to look like so. You got your inside lining, and then you got your outside of your bag. You want to take this and stretch it as much as you can and just kind of press it just to make it go down. And this is where you can do both sides and just kind of pull it. All right, then before I even put on the other side, this is where I kind of jump ahead from what I've seen other people do. I just do this because it makes me nervous and I don't want to mess it up to begin with, so I just go ahead and jump ahead. Take it back over to your machine, make sure it's completely folded down and you've got it as tight as you can possibly get it. And then I found you got to do it this way. Put your material in. Again, you're going to use your feet as a guide, and actually, I'm sorry, you want to put your sewing foot on the edge of where you have sewn before. So I just set it right on the top of it, and that's going to be my guide. Now I'm going to make sure, in order to keep this as tight and as pressed as possible, you can press it with the iron, but again, that takes more time. So just pull it as tight as you can, and then you're just going to sew a straight line using that guide all the way across. And that is going to keep your fabric from gathering up and bunching up in your zipper teeth when you go to unzip your purse or zip it back together. So straight across. And it looks like so. You've got a nice straight line going all the way across the seam of your zipper, and if you turn it around, you've got the same. So when you go to open your bag, you're not going to see the inside of the batting and all that mess. So that side's already done. Now you want to do the exact same thing that I just did. Again, you're going to lay your inside lining piece like so. Take your zipper, make sure it's facing upwards, and lay it again as even as possible. Don't worry about any excess extra, just make sure you've got it lined up on your sides, or else it won't come together inside the bag and it won't look as good. Take your other side of your purse, and again, face down, batting up, and lay it perfectly with the other, and be pen friendly. A couple of friends of mine would appreciate this, me using pens. Just throw these pens in here. I used to think I could just hold it and sew it and it would come together just perfect, and that does not work. So use your pens. All right, I've got that side sewed on, or pinned on. So I'm gonna come over here real quick and sew this side. Again, use your guide, which is the teeth of the zipper. One thing I forgot to mention, and I should have done already, is always back stitch. Once you've got a first couple of stitches in there, if you want to back stitch a couple of times, it's just going to ensure that you're not going to unravel your thread. I usually back stitch, but I guess I forgot about it. All right, so we're going to go all the way across. Again, I can feel the teeth through there, so I'm using that as my guide. We're almost looks like a 1/4 inch seam, but not quite. Depends on how big your zipper is. All right. We have got the hard part done, and that is adding the zipper. Again, I gotta press this one side, so I'll fold that over. When you open it up, that's what it's gonna look like. But I need to go ahead and press that as hard as you can. And if you use that guide, you see how, for once, it actually comes out really perfect. I have got the zipper on there, even the same size. If you don't do that, if you don't have a guide, it's not going to come out straight at all. I've learned that from experience, so couldn't tell you how many zippers I've wasted trying to master the zipper. Okay, once I have pressed that down enough, I'm going to go ahead and sew that side. Again, you're going to use your seam right there on that side and just shoot straight across. Yes, I just said it. Okay. So now I've got the perfect sides. And when you go to open your bag, your fabric will not get hung up in your zipper. All right. With this, you've got two options. You can have a flat bag, which has no bottom flat on it, where when you set it down, it's flat. Or you can actually make a bottom to where it kind of curves down and you've got it flat. If you choose to not make a bottom and just have a flat purse, then at that point you would open your bag back up and you are going to sew from corner to corner. Okay, at this point, actually, make sure you unzip. I usually go about halfway. You are going to sew all the way around. You want to leave about a 2-inch or so gap in the bottom of your lining. Leave that open. That's how you're going to pull your purse through. So at this time we are going to go straight. Make sure when you come up to your teeth of your zipper that the teeth are facing the inside of the lining, that they go inward, not outward, that you want to push them inwards. So I just usually start from, kind of do it a little backwards, but make sure it's all lined up, and then use it as a guide. And then as you come down this way, I usually pull it tight and make sure your teeth are facing inwards. Okay. And then just sew straight up that way. designed to go straight over those zippers, so don't be afraid. I was afraid at first. Not anymore. Straight over. Make sure you've got your front of the bag and the back of the bag as lined up as possible. If you got a little extra, it's okay, we'll cut it off. And I usually allow a 1/4 inch seam on this one. Make sure that you do have your zipper open, because if you leave it at the end, you're not going to be able to get your zipper back in there. You're not going to be able to open your bag. I learned that one the hard way. I'm going to make sure my teeth are out. Make sure it's lined up good. All right, now remember, when you turn your last corner, you need to leave a 2-inch opening in the bottom of your lining so that you can pull the rest of your bag through. So I'm going to just a little bit, and then I'm going to back stitch. Back stitching is your friend. Okay. Once you are done, you've got it all sewn together. This is where you're going to cut off any kind of excess zipper pieces. And I got a little uneven down here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut off all my little excess, or else it's just going to bunch up at the bottom of your purse, and you don't want all that. Okay. Now once you've done that, this is actually where you want to decide whether you want a flat purse. I have a purse over here that I did, this will be in the next tutorial on how to make this one. But this one I did not put any bottom on, it's just flat all the way around. One of my favorites. Or you can do it where you have your seams down here and you can put feet in there, the feet on the bottom of it. I don't mess with those a lot. They're just kind of, or you can just like that. Anyway, in this one here, I'm going to show you how to do this, how I did this one. I prefer the other style just because it's quicker and easier, but I'm going to show you how to do that. At this point, you want to grab the ends, your layers of your purse, and pull it like this triangle is what you call it. And this is when you're going to take your measure stick or ruler or whatever you have, and you want to measure, maybe I usually do about 2 inches from the point of your bag. And I take a little marker and I'm going to go ahead and just mark on the inside of this bag, like so. Then take it to your sewing machine and sew straight across that line you just marked. Making sure to backstitch. So it looks like that. And I just used that marking that I put on there and I went straight across. Then you're going to take the next side and do the exact same thing to this side. This is kind of why I choose not to half the time, because it takes a little while to get these corners done like this. But you're just going to measure from your point again, straight line across, and then we're going to sew it. Okay, now that you have that part done, you've also have to do your lining as well, or else it'll just bunch up at the bottom of your purse. You can either measure again the 2 inches. I have a few friends that are perfectionists, so they have to have it the exact 2 inches. Or I just kind of guess at it. I just did 2 of them. I'm sure I can guess it 2 more. So you're going to do the same thing with both sides of your lining. I got it about 2 inches. It's either going to be a little baggy on the inside or tight on the inside, so which is good either way for me. Alright, so I'm going to say that's about 2 inches. Go straight across. Alright, now that you've got all 4 corners done, you want to cut off your excess material because it'll do nothing again but just bunch up. Leave about 1/4 inch from your seam that you have there, and I usually just go straight across. And just cut that right off. And you're going to do that to all 4 sides. Just because you don't want all that bunching up at the bottom of your purse. Okay, now that you have that all done, you're about ready to go ahead and turn it on the inside out. So you left it open with your zipper. I usually kind of just finish the opening of the zipper, and you're just going to grab your first corner and just start pulling it through. And that's another reason why you back stitch a lot, so you don't pull your stitches out when you're going to turn it inside out. Yeah. And before you've got it 100% turned, you want to make sure that everything looks good the way you want it. And it's the same width, both sides across. It's about 2 inches. I'm going to go inside. And I'm going to push out my corners just to make it look good. Alright. Now you're going to take the inside of your lining, the part that you did not sew, and turn it in. And this would be a good idea to actually press it to make it stay. And I usually use the same color thread that's the color of my lining, so that it kind of blends in and you don't see any kind of mistakes that I've made or anything like that. But then I just take the lining and I'm going to sew it shut. Some people will hand stitch it shut and things like that. I prefer not to. I just want to get it shut. Alright, so I've sewn straight across that side, and it's got my perfect stitch going right across. That's when you want to go ahead and remove any kind of excess strings or anything like that, because this is the inside of your bag and this will show on the inside. Alright, you're done with that, you want to just go ahead and push it in. And you have just made a purse with 18 5-inch squares. and it will look just like that. To me, that is just simply gorgeous. I love it. All right, now you've got two options here. We're almost done. This shouldn't take long at all. You have two options. If you are a two-handled person, you need 4 sets of grommets to go on each side. If you are a one-handled person, which again I'm going to show this one as an example, then you only need 2 sets of grommets. On this particular bag, I'm going to go ahead and do what I've done here, and I'm going to do it on each side. Instead of doing it the 4 here, because this one was a choice that somebody else had that I'm doing 4. So what you're going to do is make sure your lining is pushed in as far as you can. Everything looks good and everything's straight. And I have, from one of the sets of grommets that I bought, came a template for a curtain, I guess curtain lining or whatever you want to call it. So I take this, and you're going to place, there's actual measurements on your template. You're going to use that and go down the center of your seam. So you're going to place it, and I use from the top up here to this part of this template. You can use any template you want. You can put this anywhere you want it. I just set it right there on that seam that I went all the way across earlier. I set it right there at the top. I center it, and that's where my circle's going to be. Take you a pin, make sure it's on there. I usually lay this down, and I'm just going to kind of mark right there. And you've got that. That way I know where I'm going on both sides of the purse. So I will turn it around, and I will do it on this side of the purse. Also, you want to allow enough to where when you go to sew your handle on, it's not going to be hard in your machine for you to get your purse into your machine. All right, so I'm going to, and if it is, then you're stuck hand sewing your handle on. All right, so I've got my 2 holes on here, and the scary part, because if you mess up, you've just messed up your entire bag. I'm going to cut a hole in my bag, like so. And I'm going to cut this hole all the way through. Go all the way through. Every bit of the lining, the batting, everything. Seems like it would take forever, but it really doesn't. Once you get the, all right. So you've got your hole in your bag. You know, you can go through the green. Go through the green. Alright. Yeah. Alright, so I have my hole inside my bag. I'm going to take 1 set of grommet. You're going to have your teeth side and your groove side. And I've never really mastered which side goes where, so I don't worry about it. But I take this side and I place it on the inside. And then snap it in there. Now you got both your grommets in place. Got one on this side, and I've got one on this side. You need to put your handles on, or handle. Now to make your handle, you take your leftover charm pieces that you had and just choose whichever ones you want. Length of your handle, completely up to you. You can make it however long you want. You can make it same color, lining color, whatever you want to do. But I used these and I made mine. You're going to lay your charm pieces out in a straight line to pretty much the length of the strap that you want on your purse. Once you've got your length, you want to sew all of those together and press them. Once you have them pressed, you want to take your strip, which I'm sorry I don't have one to show, I've already got one finished, and you're going to, you have a couple of choices or ideas that you can use. I actually put batting in mine, only because I like it a little bit thicker and a little bit sturdier for my shoulder. So I take my whole entire strip and I lay a piece of batting, and this might be an idea to use the fusible fleece for this one just because it stays in place. But you want to put your, I'd say about 1.5 inches wide, all the way down the center of your strap. Once you've got it in there, you're going to take it with your iron and you're going to press right to the center of, or right to the beginning of where the batting is going to start. So if the batting were to start, sorry I don't have an example, if the batting were to be right dead center in there, you want to crease just before it. And you're going to do that all the way down, and then you're going to do the exact same with that one. Okay. Then once you fold it over and you've got it in there, you're going to fold it to where it is perfectly seamed, and you will press that to where it will stay so that you can sew it, or you can use your pins as well. I actually finished mine, and I chose to use, out of the same charm pack, I just chose to use solid, more solid colors and not more of the designs. I didn't finish the ends on these because it won't show on the inside of the purse, but you can always tuck these in or tuck them around or anything that you want to do. So you're going to take one side of the purse, of the handle, and stick it through in here, and that's kind of where I kind of crease it to where you're not going to see this mess once you've sewn it in. And you're going to take over to your machine and you're going to sew the inside. You want to make it kind of even with your seam that you have on your purse to the dead center of your handle, and you're going to sew it onto this side. Now that's where I said you gotta make sure you've got enough seam allowance for your machine to, let's hopefully I've left enough room. If not, then I'm gonna have to hand sew these on, but let's see if I can't get that in there. Sometimes it's a little bit of a booger to get them in there, but, and like I said, there might be easier ways or faster ways, or may even be a right way, but I don't know it. Alright, so I've got plenty of room, so you're going to just stick it in there. Make sure that you've got your handle exactly where you want it, and then you're going to sew. I get my needle in there, and then I'm going to back stitch. Make sure you back stitch a little bit. And as I'm going in, I usually just kind of let it guide itself, but I let it sew quite a bit so that it's putting extra thread in there, and it's helping me keep that in there. Once you've got, I only sew right across the length of the width of the handle, and then I'm going to back stitch a little bit more than normal. I'm probably going to just go I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5, whatever. Once I'm done with that, then that's good. Take it out, and you're going to trim all your excess. So you've got your handle on there, and it's perfect straight across. And then make sure that you pull your handle straight and it's not twisted or turned. And you're going to do the exact same thing with this side. Pull it through. Make sure you tuck that. And this one might be a little on the tight side. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to make sure I didn't turn my handle, but I'd have to take that out once you've put it in there, because I don't know if this one's going to fit. Don't worry about that, honey. It usually takes me more time trying to figure out how to get this underneath my foot than it does to actually sew it in there, so give me just a second. Okay. Alright, I got it in there. Make sure you have lined up your handle with the seam of your purse in the center. And again, I'm going to sew just a couple, and then I'm going to back stitch just to make sure I've got it on there. And this might be kind of tough to go through because I got a little bit of a knot there from where my zipper is. So I just kind of let it drag in there, and then I'm going to back stitch again. And I'm going to back stitch a little bit more than normal, so about 3 or 4 times, 12 times. Whatever makes you comfortable, just to make sure it's in there. Alright, I'll take that out. And you want to go through and just clean it up a little bit and get all your the thread that you had left over, and just kind of take all that out and whatnot. Another option is that I've seen a couple do it before, is you can also stitch your handle here. I choose not to. It's just another step for me to try and mess up. But once you are done with that, you have made a charm square tote. And that's what your finished project should look like. Very happy with this one. I think it looks really cute. You can add pockets inside and out as you go, and do any kind of decorative. Maybe put a one of those hard plastic bottoms on there to make it more sturdy. But all in all, I think it looks great. Over. Thanks again for watching this tutorial. I hope you find it helpful instead of just the speedy way of trying to get things done. If you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, I'd love to hear from you. You can look me up on Facebook at SewSwapIt, or you can email me at sewswapit@yahoo.com. On that site, we do swaps with other ladies who do all kinds of different sewings, and you're welcome to join in. The more the merrier. Again, my name is Bobby. Sew Swap It. Thank you.